it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, the roll call for the bills.
Martyr,
Here.
Mazer,
Here.
Schneider.
Here.
Sofa.
Here.
Weaver. Wilson.
Here.
Zimmer.
Here.
All right, non-agenda items from the sidelines, I have nothing, so we'll move on from that. Comments from city administration. Chief?
Nothing. Other than what I have.
Other than what's on the agenda, okay. Parks and Recs not here. Tammy?
Yeah.
For Chamber?
Yes, just a couple things from the Chamber of Commerce. We are having a Memorial Day flower sale to raise money for festival. That is Memorial Day weekend, Friday, all day Friday and Saturday, till they sell out on Benton and Main. We did have a festival meeting, and there's just a couple items. Volunteerism is low in the fire department, so we're requesting assistance with the parade from other areas within the city, whether it be police, DPW, or something with regards to road closures, direction for parade in the 5K. I don't know if it's possible to get some assistance from, from the counties or area. But the fire department is real concerned because they have very few members, and some of them are gonna be elsewhere during the parade and stuff like that. So just want to make that aware and see if we can have some additional assistance for that.
Now, for the 5K, normally do they have, it's a police officer and one fire truck or something? Is that
Usually the police starts off,
leads it?
yes.
That's what I thought.
But then I'm not really sure, we're trying to lock down what the route's gonna be for that, just to make sure we've got all the intersections. I know at one point we did have a committee that we kind of assisted with standing by some of the roads and making sure that people didn't come out. I don't know if that's an option, but just want to get ahead of this, so that we're not like scrambling the day of trying to get, the road coverage.
I wonder if Richmond Lennox would help with the 5K. They usually don't mind lending a hand.
I'm sure the Leos would be willing to help.
Yeah.
I believe
Scouts, Leos.
the old cross-country coach is actually, is she the vice president of the Leos or something like
She's the
that?
lead, yeah, she's the lead
Liaison,
liaison or
yeah.
whatever.
So there's some folks to reach out to.
Okay, and then our next chamber meeting is Tuesday, May 21st. I believe it's the 21st, 9 a.m. at the fire station. All right, thank you.
All right, so adoption and amendment to the agenda. Does anybody that doesn't have any amendments, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Smart.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Sofa.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Zimmer.
Yes.
Martyr.
Yes. Approval of the regular meeting minutes of April 2nd, 2024. If we don't have any corrections, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of April 24th, or April 2nd, 2024.
Support.
Schneider.
Yes.
Sofa.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Zimmer.
Yes.
Martyr.
Yes.
Mazer.
Yes.
All right, presentation and approval of the April disbursements report of $144,742.14 and the electronic wire transfers of $12,821.15. Can I get a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make a motion to approve the April disbursements of $144,742.14 and the electronic wire transfers of $12,821.15.
I'll second that.
Sofa.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Zimmer.
Yes.
Martyr.
Yes.
Mazer.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
All right, next up, website proposal. Presentation from Robert, is it Stocky?
That's correct.
Robert Stocky, Simplified Internet Design, for looking at our website and what should we do to make it better. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me. So again, my name is Bob Stocky, Simplified Internet Design. My wife and I, we live in St. Clair Township, and we currently do the website for St. Clair Township. So we've been handling that for probably almost 2 years now. What we're proposing in your packet that you have there is we would be taking over the website, basically building you a new website and maintaining it. And what I mean by maintaining is when you guys have new documents, new forms, new ordinances, news, whatever, we would post that for you. You send it to us, we post it, whether it's a Word document, a PDF document, an email, you say, please post this on the website, we maintain that. So in my proposal, what I'm proposing is basically, it's a 2 hours per month as far as the maintenance side of it. And so if you guys go over 2 hours per month, then obviously we bill in 15-minute increments or whatever, but we can add that. We bill quarterly. So that's how the maintenance side of it would be. Right now, your site is hosted on sites.google.com. So it's like a free site. And I have another client that is using sites.google.com. He's a small furniture repair guy. He doesn't really have any big budget, so I put him on a free site. But I started getting notices, and they say, hey, we're changing this, and this might go away, or we're gonna migrate to that. You don't own the site right now. So if I take over the site and do the site for your community, I'm gonna host it at A2 Hosting. We're gonna have a domain name, so it's memphismichigan.org, something like that. It's gonna be, you guys would own that. So if something happened to my hosting provider, I would move it to a different hosting provider, but basically you're gonna own the site. So that's kind of the high level of what we're proposing. Again, why are we proposing this? It's to better communicate with your residents so that they're up to date on what's happening as far as community news, new ordinances, new rates, and so on. What we do for the township, St. Clair Township right now, we do their meeting minutes, we do their agendas. They've got a special meeting that's coming up between St. Clair and St. Clair Township for a big water project, so we're posting all those online in their news page. The other kind of high impact item that I think is valuable in what we do is that when people are calling and they're saying, hey, I need this form, or I need this, what are these rules, what's the regulations, how do I pull a permit for this, how do I rent the pavilion, all those types of things. People get used to, they're directed to the website, so they can pull that form, they know it's gonna be $50 for this fee, they bring their form in with their $50 and it hopefully saves your staff.
So they'd be able to draw up the permit and pull the permit up and print it themselves, as opposed to coming in here and having to get the form and.
Right,
We do
provided.
have it on there now.
Okay.
Yeah, provided they can print it at home, they can pull that up and they can print it, bring it in. So that's kind of the idea. Additionally, calendar events, you're talking about festivals, talking about 5Ks, talking about when the council meetings are, and so on. So the calendar of events, we would maintain that. You guys say, hey, our meeting's every Tuesday and once a month or twice a month, that's on the calendar events, then special events are added in there. So in your proposal, if you go to page 2, your page or your website right now is 16 pages. And so my proposal is that I would rebuild those 16 pages, move it over. We would do it on WordPress. WordPress is designed to be mobile ready so that you can view it on your phone. 60+% of internet traffic is somebody's looking at it on their phone, right? That's basically how everybody's pulling up the information. Typically you have one person that's kind of the gatekeeper, so I would only be getting updates to the website from one person. So whoever's gonna say, hey, I need this form up there, or I need this announcement, it's gonna go through one gatekeeper. They would email that to us. We would have it up either the same day or before noon the next day, depending on when you send it to us. So that's the current site. Page 3, again, just a little bit more background on myself. We've been doing websites for 24 years, whether it's e-commerce websites, nonprofit websites. The one government site that I have is St. Clair Township. We just picked up the Voyager restaurant in St. Clair, Hills Garage in Port Huron Township, so those are some of our different customers. We do the websites and we maintain their Facebook pages for them as well. And then finally on page 4, which is my proposal. So the one-time rebuild cost is line item 1 there. So again, your 16 pages, I'm quoting $18.50. That's setting up the WordPress site, working with you guys on updating the pages, moving over the pages. Maybe some of the pages you eliminate and you change them out for something else. That's your choice, deciding on what you want to do. And then the monthly updates, it's basically we're quoting 2 hours per month, so it's $150 per month. We bill quarterly, and each time we bill, you're going to get a line item detail that says, here's what we updated. We put this agenda on, we did this, we posted this new ordinance, we posted this news article. So you're getting basically a little document that says what's the work that we did. Couple of the domain names, line item 3 there, memphismichigan.org is available. The domain names are $20 per year. So as long as you renew that, I usually buy them for 3 years at a time, and then it would renew again for 3 years. City of Memphis mi.org is available, and there's others.
Why isn't .gov available?
I can check for .gov. The register that I looked at, it wasn't coming up. It might be a different register that I would have to go to, but .gov, I can definitely look at that.
I think just based on the domain stuff that I've had to go through, the .gov stuff is a lot more, a little more involved with the federal government.
Trickier to get.
Yeah, it's a little harder to get.
Yeah, St. Clair Township has .org. Yeah, that's just how they're doing. They're stclair.twp.org.
That's just a question.
Yep. When I use Cloudflare right now for my website registrar, and it just didn't come up when I searched for that. But the idea is keep it short, right? So again, memphismichigan.org, that's available. City of Memphis mi.org. But we can get on there and play with different versions and come up with a short name. So that's my proposal. Any questions?
Yeah, one of the things when we talked originally was about the Google sites, and I did a little bit more research about that. And you mentioned the Google sites were going away, but it's the Google for Business sites, right?
So the one that I set up for the guy that's doing the furniture repair.
Right.
So I set it up with sites.google.org.
Yeah.
Or sites.google.com. And I've been getting notices, and that's when you and I talked, and says, hey, this is, and they're kind of always changing it, and we kind of researched it, and it's not definitive whether or not it's completely going away or not.
Yeah, but they are doing away with the business sites, or if they already have.
Yeah, and they're just moving it to the Google Business Profile.
Right.
Correct.
And it won't be a website anymore if it's
Correct.
a business.
Just their profile.
Correct. Okay.
Yep. Any other questions?
Anything else, anybody?
Just make one comment.
my-
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
My question would be really, right now, who's dealing with putting the information out? And would this be a benefit to you and your office?
Amber puts it on. The benefit we would get from this is when we don't have the time, because a lot of times we're behind.
Send it to
It's
him.
gonna free up your time
But,
and updating the website.
a lot of times, I'm gonna be honest, like with the burning permits, people are still coming in because they don't have their
You're right.
computer.
Yeah.
So it's like, how
So
many
some
are
things
really
they
gonna
will,
use
some things
it?
they will, and, I mean, but if it's a one-stop thing, people are always gonna come in person, the small
Mhm.
town, but.
And the burn permits are only for the townships, right?
Yeah, and there's options on that as well. So for example, something that people come in a lot in a burning permit, is there any fee with that or no fee?
No.
So we could actually make it a form where they fill it out on their phone, and it gets emailed in, and then you guys respond back and say, yep, you've got your burning permit. So again, that would save a step, and they could basically fill it out on their phone, right on their phone.
It would automatically return a message saying, here's your burning permit,
You can have.
there's no money, so
So
as long as they have something they can print out.
Right, we
have it, right?
could make it automatic, or we could make it where it's waiting for someone to approve it.
Like Google Forms, you could have an auto response.
Exactly,
Yeah.
either way. you know, again, it's just when you look at what do you spend a lot of time on, what do you get behind on, is there a way to just streamline that? You know, and everything's on the phone nowadays, right? People
And
are,
I think another thing too, Donna, is training people. Like you have to start training people to go to the website to get information.
exactly.
Yeah.
Just telling them, hey, we got a website. It's really easy.
I'm happy.
You don't have to come in.
I try to do that now.
I'm sure.
My other thought really is just for us here is, what would we pay, like, cause it says police, fire and this and that, we wouldn't pay it out of each individual budget, we would just pay it out of general fund. and-
Yeah, come out of general fund and just, yeah. Yeah, you know, you would be.
Wouldn't break it up into 4 different departments and they all get a piece.
Well, there would be a line item in the budget for that,
Yeah.
For each department, though,
No.
he's saying? Oh, just-
overall.
General fund.
Just do general.
Overall, yeah.
Okay. Those are all the questions I really had. We don't necessarily have to decide tonight, do we?
No.
That we hope it will.
Well, I wanted to get him in front of us and have the conversation.
So we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Didn't Steve have a question or no?
Oh, yeah.
I just add one thing to throw out as far as we're considering a name.
I know your name. though.
Memphis, Tennessee comes up quite a bit.
Right.
That experience with Memphis Blues site. I think that Memphis, Michigan, whatever configuration, we make sure that there's a Michigan in there with Memphis, or else there's gonna be people frustrated searching for the site, and it happens all the time.
Yeah, we were looking up restaurants because we're gonna go to dinner after this, and I was in Memphis, Tennessee, right away. Like, oh, this one sounds nice, but,
You should try the doghouse, it's great.
okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, any thoughts on this? If you want to move forward, do you folks want some time to mull on it, or?
I like to go on and look at some of them that he does.
Yeah, well,
To review them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's fine, that's good. Take some time
If
to
there's something
review
we
it.
don't like, we can go, hey, you don't have to do it like this.
Yeah.
I don't one way or the other, because I don't get on the.
Yeah.
internet.
Larry's one that we put off.
We would have,
Last question, the webpage.
we would have some input in the actual build and the aesthetics of it, right? Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, more or
Well,
less.
Basically, what we would do is, we take the current site, and PDF it all, we have a kind of a kickoff design meeting, red pen, everything, saying, okay, we don't wanna do this, or this page doesn't make any sense anymore, you know, like you have an FAQ page, do we still wanna do that? Great, we do the FAQ page, but yeah, you basically, you sit down and we go through the whole thing.
Line by
You know,
line.
Takes an hour, takes half hour, whatever, you know, send it to you in advance, start red penning it.
okay.
Yep.
And what about like images and stuff? We have to send you images if we want them, like, you know, for your header, things like that, we want a picture of the downtown or something like that, or is that something that you just pull off of the internet, or?
So there's existing images that are on there, there's quite a few images that are on there, and
Did you-
we can take pictures too of whatever you would need, so it's not.
As long as they're not copyrighted, right? We couldn't take from somebody else to use on our website.
On your own website right now.
On
there are
our
quite
own
a few
website,
images.
we couldn't take from another.
Right, no, so if I'm gonna pull a generic image, I'm gonna get it from Canva, which I pay
Right,
for,
yep.
right, but anything else, I'm not gonna put anybody else's images on there just because I don't want them to go after me or go
Right.
after you.
Yeah, I meant, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, you know, and you take something on the phone, you send it to me, I crunch it down a little bit so it's downloads quickly and we put it up on the site.
Very good, thank you. Unless there's anything else, we can move on, and
Be a good
you
place
folks
put the
won't have to
master plan.
suffer through any more of this meeting.
All right, appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming by.
Anyway, I won't see the website.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks a lot, thanks for
Thank
talking
you.
to us, appreciate it.
I'll follow up with you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Where the water runs,
Right, communications, I have none. Unfinished business, I see none. So moving on to new business, budget amendments. So what do we have here? This is, we got $395 on the Parks and Rec, $112 for local streets, water and sewer, $30, and that's for lagoon samples, professional engineering for $38,048.17, and operating supplies for $17.94. Can I get a motion to move some money around here?
I'll make a motion to approve administrative memo number 2 of 23-24.
Weaver,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Murder,
Yes.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa.
Yes.
Okay, next up, new police radios. We wanna move beyond the tin cans and the string?
Yeah, I think we're past that. Barely, but we're past it. All right, so I'm looking to purchase some new radios more out of necessity than need. So St. Clair County Sheriff's Department is switching to a encrypted radio system here in the near future. So our current radios will not work. We either have to have them reprogrammed or we need to purchase new ones. Well, their current radios are 19 years old. They work, but they're not in the best of shape, and there's no parts available for them, and nobody works on them in the state of Michigan anymore. So we're kind of being forced into it, but they provide our dispatch services, so we don't have a lot of choice there. Looking to purchase 6 prep portable radios and 2 in-car radios. Full installation, setup, and the state of Michigan has to program each individual unit before they can be used. That's a one-time fee paid to the state. This originally was brought forth as a county project for St. Clair County. They were going to purchase all the radios for all the agencies that were on their system. They've been kind of going back and forth on that. We've been waiting for an answer. It's probably been about a year and a half now. We finally came down with an answer, and they decided to not do a full project. They're going to leave it up to the individual municipalities, the individual commissioners to decide if there was monies allocated for these projects for their communities. But in the meantime, the state of Michigan had an agreement with Kenwood for this bid purchase for all these radios. So they're honoring the bid purchase price as if we were buying them all as one, but they're honoring it for each individual community that's buying the radios for their own respective departments. So we are getting that state of Michigan bid price on this purchase, even though we're only buying 8. And that was something that I had to sign on to, before the expiration date, or that went away and it was back to the price increase. And paying full price. So all the information is there on the radios if you have any questions. The total purchase price is $21,106.60. And then there's a $250 per unit activation fee that's paid directly to the state of Michigan. Total's $23,106 for the whole project. That's them coming out, installing the new car radios and setting everything up as well. I'm looking to do that, and I'm looking for the funds to be dispersed from the general fund, so.
Am I reading that wrong then? I thought the total project price to upgrade our current radios is $23,000.
It's not to use our current, it's to upgrade the current radio system, but not the actual units.
All right,
They're 19 years old,
radio
and,
system,
yeah.
okay.
We'd have to send them to Texas. There's one person that actually works on that Motorola unit still, out of state in the whole country, basically. And then even that may only carry over maybe for a couple of years with this encryption system, then those would be obsolete. So, again, they're 19 years old, nobody works on them anymore, they need to be replaced.
They're
And
obsolete.
this just happens to be the time to do it, so. I don't know if there's anybody have any questions on it. I'm not a radio guy, but I have information on it.
So you said general fund, is that the city general fund or
Yes.
the police general fund?
No, the city general fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was budgeted last year for $23,000 for
Right.
radio.
Yeah, this whole thing's been, it's like most projects, it's taken a lot longer. They weren't sure where they were going with it, what direction, are we gonna be paying anything? Is the county gonna be picking it up? Are they paying a percentage? And there are some communities that the county, their commissioner, their area, they have the money available and they are buying them for their departments. So, everybody's kinda different. So it was kinda hard to budget for and plan for because it's been kinda in the works and then pushed back and, so.
I had a couple of conversations with
Yep.
the Russian I talked to you on, and the money that he had available is basically going to
Bell River, right,
Yeah,
yeah, so.
reconstruction. So we don't really have anything
Right.
much left over. He did tell me though they might bring it up again, and if there's collectively some money, they might pay some of it. But
Yep.
I wouldn't expect it.
Don't hold your breath.
I know you
Doing
don't.
enough.
Don't hold your breath, no.
Doing enough on Bell River.
All right, well, if we don't have any more comments, I'll take a motion to approve purchasing new radios for our police department for $23,106.
I'll make that motion to spend $23,106 out of the general fund for encrypted radios.
Support.
Wilson,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Murder,
Yes.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa,
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes. Right, moving on. Michigan GeoSearch, looking to extend their lease for one additional year. Any questions on this one? So I probably don't have any answers, but it just looks like they just wanna,
What does it do?
Yeah, what is
Just extends the lease for 1 year.
extends the
They're-
lease,
they're
the lease that they
doing
have
sort
for
of
one more year until they
The
decide
well,
to start
I mean,
drilling.
oil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what land did you, are we obligated for?
It's a
All the
pool.
city
Yeah.
property?
Do you remember we set up a pool with them?
Yeah, but not.
So they needed so much acreage put together in order to allow this with the state.
But what's included of the city in the pool?
Oh, this is the drilling?
Yeah.
All the city,
Most
all
of
the
it.
city owned property that
All the
was,
city, like the
north,
roads too, or?
it was north of
Oh.
Boardman,
No, it's more than that.
Yeah, they went further.
did they?
Yeah.
Just the pool of combining land in order to get the permit from the state.
Right. Mhm. Yeah, I
It's
recall
been
that.
going on for some time.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a renewal of the contract
Yeah.
that they had with
Yeah,
us.
it's just.
If they do
The city
drill,
land, like it
we
goes
get
on.
royalties though, right? That's how it works.
Yeah. if,
This is just a whole.
After expenses,
Yeah.
Right,
after expenses.
Yeah.
I'm sure the city is the largest leaseholder.
They would be, they've got more land. than-
School.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
If
They got
if
more
the
land.
school's included, they got quite a bit of land over there.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Lions Club, I think all the roads count, all the parks.
Did everybody, all the households included in it?
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because I have nothing.
I just signed one the other day.
I don't
It
think
doesn't go all the way
every-
to my house.
Yeah, it's not all the houses are included.
It's just a,
Majority of
that's,
the
I
state, but
thought
not
for
all.
Boardman and North, but they
You
might have
would've got
gone
a
a block
No,
over.
because my mom's house on Bell River and Benton is part of it.
Well, gosh, then, oh, you'd think
Well,
that
that's
Bobby's
west,
would be.
it's west though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I never got one previous.
But that's to every homeowner, no different, so.
Got a motion,
mm-hmm.
Do we know how much money it is, Tom? How much did you get last year? You know? Or-
How much did we get?
Yeah.
We haven't got nothing. Well, I mean, they give you $50 for renewing it.
Per acre.
Well, no, he sent us a $50 check.
they just say an acre, on that, cause I called them on that, cause I got an acre and a half, but they said that, they just said an acre, but when it's distributed, it'll be distributed according to the acre.
When they start
Yeah,
drilling.
that's what he told me anyway,
Well, it says $50 per acre.
Per acre.
yeah.
And if they're only paying $50, I would say they have 1 acre.
The city?
I mean, if-
Yeah,
if
they
you're
gave
paying-
us a check for $50 that we have not cashed yet.
Is that saying they can only drill 1 acre at a time?
No, it goes on.
No, the drill site is over.
No, it's
That's
just,
my house.
it's just,
Oh, okay.
it's just,
That's just to extend the lease, he's
Yeah.
giving us $50.
yes, extending it.
Being generous to extend it.
It used to be 35.
Approve it.
Support.
Support.
Thank
Who approved, Larry?
Yeah.
And who approved,
I second
Zimmer,
Yes.
Martyr,
Yes.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa,
it, yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Okay, next up, election inspector classes. Did you wanna talk about this, Dan?
No, it's basically just like it says that since I've been here, we've been paying them $10 to go to a class.
Right.
And some of these people take off work to go, and now there's parking meters, or paid parking they gotta pay for, and they're using their gas. And we found out Riley was given $75 a class,
Where are the classes?
in Mount Clemens usually.
Oh, yeah.
And so,
And you know.
like, everybody was different in counting mileage, because people are coming from their work. We just thought it'd be easy just to make $60, everything included for your parking, gas, and class.
Right.
Per class though.
Then they've gotta get a
So
meter
it's
water
60
down
times
there
10?
and-
Is that what we're voting on? Or is it just?
No,
60
just
per person?
$60, cause some people don't do it all the time, they go away to Florida in the winter, and we don't have them.
So this is saying if somebody is going to be a part of this, we will give them $60 per class that they take.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve this proposal.
Support.
Martyr,
Yes.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yeah.
Zimmer.
Yes.
Not everybody needs to take all 3 classes every year. I believe every other year is.
No, you only have to take one,
One,
but
right.
with everything going on, we're hoping people, if we pay them more, they'll go to more.
Right. It was all new this year.
All right, next up, invoice from BMJ for $3,010 for the condominium, condominium review.
Yeah, this, Mark was over here and we called and said he couldn't make it. So actually this is for looking at the prints for the condo development, but that will be paid, actually, we may pay it, but we'll be charging
Will be
the builder.
reimbursed from,
The builder will reimburse us for that. Yeah.
right.
So we're just paying it now until we get the reimbursement.
It'll come out of the bond. We've already got the money in the bond, right?
I don't think we've set up that yet. We haven't set that up yet, have we? In other words, they're supposed to have an escrow account here.
They haven't set that up yet.
No, we did it for the houses, but we didn't, yeah.
They haven't done that.
We haven't done it for this, so we haven't set that up yet, but, so this will just, have it and
I'll make a motion to pay this, but we should have them set up that bond as soon as possible.
Support.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Wilson,
yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Murder.
Yes. Next up, planning commission recommendations from council, items 1 through 7. Mr. Reva, I'll let you talk on this, and we'll welcome Mr. Dunbar to join in too, please.
Sure, we at our last planning commission meeting touched on about a half a dozen subjects that, regarding the condo ordinance that really needed some attention, that were not lining up with the actuality of what's going on, and much of it related to, there's a few things that were more likely typos that were in our code as far as road widths and so forth, that we addressed. It's been a long and kind of a convoluted process, and I appreciate Mr. Dunbar's work on it. It's, often these things get a little frustrating and get a few tempers flaring throughout there, but that's democracy. It's messy and it's slow, and we waded through it, but I think the proactive approach is going to pay, that with these corrections that we're proposing here tonight, it will tighten up that ordinance a lot. And as some of you know that were here and put this together, this was done years ago, and it was put in place proactively for the day that perhaps we would have condos built.
Right.
And now that it's in process, we scrutinize them a little bit closer, particularly Mr. Dunbar, so I didn't want to credit for doing that. And we have discussed these, looked into a lot of them, and the results of it are these individual proposals that we're recommending to council. Let Mr. Dunbar make any additional comments if you care to.
I would like to make a few comments. I will say I am in opposition of a good majority of these recommendations. I think they were put forth with the sole purpose of putting the project putting our ordinance in compliance with the project, and not thoroughly reviewed to see if that project is something we should have within our municipality. There were a bunch of things that I've read that I still had not touched on, and I do credit the commissioners for being very patient with me and everything I brought forward, because it was an abundance of patience. That being said, I think it would be improper to amend the ordinance here tonight, the night before the commission is supposed to make a decision on it. I think the public would appreciate a notice and be able to put in their input on whether or not 20 feet is okay, if they're okay with the height, because this is going to impact a lot of neighboring properties and not just the property being developed. And I think they would appreciate a chance to review the project with the new ordinance rather than the ordinance as it's written now.
So is your opposition amending it tonight or amending it at all?
Personally, I wouldn't have amended it at all,
Okay.
but specifically just from making good decisions. Transparency. I don't think it should be amended tonight. If we want to involve the public and have a meeting on it and then be like, and I'm in the minority and they're fine with it, that's totally good. I have no problems with differences of opinion, but I would like the public to have a chance to review all proposed changes and
Well,
weigh in.
this isn't something that needs a public hearing. This isn't one of those things.
The planning commission can call a public hearing at any time,
Right, okay.
but they have to call for it.
I think, I mean, you had pretty much all but one person voted in favor of these changes.
Yeah.
Right? And, okay, I was just wondering that. And then-
I was the
You
only
were the
opposition.
sole guy, okay.
And it
I was
wasn't
looking
on all
through,
of
most
them,
of it
was
looks
It
pretty
was
reasonable.
not on all of them. The last two I think are definitely corrections of typos.
Okay.
But I think lowering the right of way could lead to potential problems in the future. I don't think it's possible to be able to predict what sort of utilities will be in the future. What if we want to put bike lanes in everything? I think it's just irresponsible to reduce the city's ability to govern itself in the future. And specifically the rear setback of 20 feet, while that won't affect most of the properties neighboring the project have very large backyards, two of the buildings will be now 20 feet from one person's property line along the east side of the property. They'll have their whole backyard, it's just condominiums 20 feet from their property line.
Those are the houses that are along Bell River Road, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that one specifically, I don't know their address, but they're two houses down from me and they have a much larger property than the rest of us. It goes back a good way. And I know when they came to the initial meeting about the condominiums, they didn't even want them in the city. They were like, I bought a property next to an empty field because I liked an empty field. And
I bought a house that had a big empty lot behind it.
Right.
It was like a park,
Everybody
but
wishes.
now I got apartments behind
Right.
it.
And I'm not
Everybody
saying,
wishes
If you
nobody
want to
built
stay
that
empty, you have to buy it.
yeah, I'm not saying we can comply with that because obviously our city needs to move forward.
Yeah.
But I would like to give them the opportunity to speak their opinion and do so in a public setting.
And they had
which-
the opportunity to purchase the property if they wanted to
Well,
stay
wouldn't we have
vacant.
to make an introduction and an adoption for these anyhow?
Yeah.
So if anyone wants
Exactly.
to.
Thanks, Rick.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm really asking,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
the ordinance not be changed
I
tonight.
would make just a couple comments about, I did check the blueprints again, and lots 1, 2, and 3, they back up to houses on Bell River Road. And they do say 20 feet, however, they're big lots, they're 250-foot lots. So actually, just a rough guess, there's another 150 feet there. And lots 13.
Wait, you're saying from the current houses to the actual
Yeah, if you
condos,
go,
right?
if you, yeah, that's what I'm saying, and I'm allowing 100 feet, which is probably not 100 feet.
Just
But
so-
I'm just saying, you got about 150 feet there, and then lots 13, 14, 15, and 16 back up to the school, so that's open. Lots 12 back up to the retention pond, and lots 7 and 8 back up to a field. Lots 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, and 11 has a rear setback of 71 feet. They're the ones in the middle, there's a road on one side and a road on the other side. Yeah, so it may look bad when you see that 20 feet, but when you look at it realistically, it's really not. And I'd like to address the other thing on the setbacks on the front. If you go from garage on one side to the garage on the other side, it's 85 feet. If you go from the garage to the road, it's 30 feet. If you go from the garage to the sidewalk, it's 20 feet, and then you have a 5-foot sidewalk, and then you have another 5 foot.
Are they proposing sidewalks
Yeah,
on both sides of the road?
so when you look at the right of way between the two, you got 45 feet. Now, I've owned 2 condos, and I lived in one, and the other one was in Garden Grove, and we couldn't sell a house, so I didn't move, but that they have only a sidewalk on one side, it's 4 feet, and it borders the road. Now, when I parked my car in front of the garage, there was just a little distance between the garage and the sidewalk. So I assumed it probably was 20 feet. And so what a car is what, 16 feet or something like that? So when you look at this one here, actually, you got 20 feet to the sidewalk, and then you got the sidewalk at 5 feet, then you got another 5 feet there, so theoretically, you're 30 feet from there. So it's not, so the total right of way is 45 feet. Now that's, and you gotta remember that condos, there's certain things that they do in a condo that you don't do in a residential district.
And this is all pertaining to
It's
our
more
condominium
dense.
ordinance.
So there's, and when we did the condo ordinance back, I don't know, 20 years ago, or 25, I don't know what it was, a long time ago. We did, I think, I'm going from memory, I think we just kind of used the RF.
We did a cut and paste from somebody else, we
Yeah.
took somebody else's ordinance
Yeah.
and adopted it, and, you know, it's one of those, we had a pretty
Right.
green planning and,
Yeah.
you know, we put together the best that we could using what was there, which, you know, and like I say, some of these were just flat out typos, you know, the road is not 51 feet wide and some of the other things
No,
in
they're
there.
definitely not.
And we probably did not scrutinize it as much as you have, Mr. Dunbar.
I have read that 100 times.
Now,
I've read other municipalities handfuls of times.
R&M,
So much.
now, we just used the R&M, whatever was there. And of course, I went through this many times with, not only with me, I went through this a lot of times too. And I just noticed some of them, it's not even realistic, some, not when you're talking about a condo. Now, Ken's been very thorough on this, and he's right that some of those are existing ordinances aren't correct. However, when you look at realistically, I think some of these recommendations by the planning commission, I think they're okay, but, another thing I wanna mention too, the planning commission can schedule another public hearing. I don't think I brought it with me, but I had a response, I think I give you those copies from their attorney, when I asked a question specifically. And I do know you had one public hearing, and we rezoned it from RM to R1A, to RM from the other. And you had a public hearing there. And I know a lot of these issues on the condo were already addressed. But that don't mean, if the planning commission wants to schedule another public hearing on it, they should go ahead. That's up to them. So.
Well, unless we vote on it tonight.
Oh, yeah, unless you vote on it tonight, but now they can schedule another public hearing. It's gotta be in the paper, you got 15 days prior, so you can set that up. I understand you got a public hearing tomorrow night, so, that's, we wanna wait.
You know how those meetings go, I mean,
Yeah,
generally,
so-
nobody likes change.
Yeah, so that's, I know they were addressed when we rezoned R1A. I wasn't there, but I think that all that was addressed, some of this condo stuff, but it was addressed, but still, we could schedule another one if you know. So-
Can we ask the planning commission to hold a public hearing or not?
Well, no, theoretically, no, because when you put this into the planning commission, the conception plan, which basically what we approved in a way.
Well, yeah,
And
no, wait a minute, hold on.
they're
So
handling it
you keep saying that this has already been approved.
No.
Now
I
we are
didn't-
changing the ordinance
No, I meant
that
that
oversees the condos.
For sure, what I'm saying is as far as I know, they.
I think he's got a great point. I think it should have a
I'm not
public
against
hearing.
his point.
No, I know you're not. I'm just saying that but you saying it's already been approved? This has
Yeah,
not been
no,
approved.
this is their recommendation, so
exactly.
it's up to us to take action on it right now, right?
No, we don't have to do anything. We can table it till whenever.
Table it, so it would have to be voted on. To table it,
Yes.
it would have to be voted on to approve it. It would
Yeah,
have to be voted on.
their recommendation.
It's something that has to be done.
This is a recommendation come from planning
Right.
for us to approve.
Yeah.
What kind of motion is
And I'll let you know, I already made all the ordinances up, by the way, they're already made up.
And by the way, tomorrow is not a public hearing, it's just an open
But
meeting.
that don't mean we have to, I don't, just because I made them up, we don't have to proceed with that. No, so.
Well, no, it would have to be in the paper anyway.
Well,
You
yeah,
couldn't have a
you're
public
right.
hearing tomorrow
Yeah, you
about
gotta have-
this.
Yeah.
So
you
does
gotta-
someone gonna make a motion of any sort, and then we'll just vote on whatever, do you, does,
I'll make a motion to table it until,
Table.
we've had a decision from the planning commission on what to do, how to proceed.
Well,
support it?
this is a recommendation. I don't know how to proceed.
They're gonna, sounds like they wanna go back to the table.
I am in opposition to the
Okay, so-
commission, and they will give you nothing other than those recommendations, I'm quite sure of it.
So so you're saying, even if there is a public hearing, regardless of what happens at that public hearing, you feel like this same is gonna come back to us?
Because
No matter what.
all the facts have been discussed.
Right.
They're gonna discuss feelings at that meeting.
I mean, I disagree that all of the facts have been discussed,
Uh-oh.
but
That's what
we
you-
have had,
These are the changes that, and here it is. The planning commission recommends to city council that
Right.
section 151.36 subsection C1 of the Memphis, city code be amended by changing the right of way of multiple, family residential streets were platted from, 60 to 35 feet. And there's 7 pages that have
So-
recommendations on the changes that the planning commission has sent forward for approval.
Right, and what I'm saying is, no matter what happens at a planning, public hearing, public anything, it's not gonna change this.
It could.
I wrote
Steve?
I wrote the attorney, or Donnie emailed.
I rescind my motion for now.
Yeah, and he sent, because even the builder said, well, we don't need another public hearing because we had one. And the attorney was somewhat, didn't quite agree with that. He didn't specifically say you have to have a public hearing, another one, but what he did say, you have to have another meeting where it's open to the public, where it can be discussed, so that
Yeah.
kind of ambiguous.
Every meeting we've had has been open to the public.
So so it would seem to me,
I mean, I think they're just gonna
And
keep
I don't
kicking the can down the road, because what it is page by page, looking at amending a certain section or subsection of the condominium ordinance to make corrections in it be, instead of
And they've already
may, we're
worked on
putting
it.
in the word shall.
I thought that when you change the setback that affects neighboring property, that you had to send out letters and let those people know there would be a public hearing to change the setback. And that's what we're doing, that's what part of this is changing the setbacks. Am I right, Larry, or
That was
no?
for changing
I
zoning.
don't think you specifically have to say the setback.
So you don't have to send out a notice that you're
Yeah,
changing?
Yeah, normally you have to go within 300 feet of the area you're addressing. Well,
So-
now, when you change the zoning, you definitely gotta do that. And I know
What's the
we had a
zoning?
public hearing on the houses, and when we put the houses in, we did have a public hearing on that.
But nobody
So-
talked about changing your setbacks,
No,
right?
no, I don't think you have, we can change setbacks, we can do that, that's not we can do that ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, but, I'd be very careful of not, because the way that the attorney explained it, he didn't say he kind of inferred that you should have another public hearing, I guess that's the best way to say it.
Well, can I get a motion to table this until, we get an answer from our attorney to the fact that we actually have to have an open meeting and to allow for a public hearing.
Well, I'd like to hear more from Steve, I mean, he's our representative on,
Steve,
planning,
I give that to Steve, I wish I had it here tonight, I don't have it. I think, in answer to my questions, and I think he answered some of Ken's questions as well, and that same information. So, but he answered mine specifically in the last part of the letter, so,
Just regarding the setbacks, the condo ordinances that I read are a minimum of 10 feet. Now, they already had 20 feet on the plans for that particular aspect of it, and we, really discussed all these at great length. And to answer your question, Tim, I don't think you're gonna sway 4 people on the planning commission to change your mind after the discussions that have followed. Realistically, my personal feelings is, this has never been in contact with the builders to accommodate the builders. I was approaching this and looking at it like, these are just some glitches that need to be addressed, and I'm glad that they came up and that it could head off future problems. So my conscience is clear that I'm not colluding with the Memphis Meadow team at all. And I just don't see any great harm coming down or any great fault happening.
What if we did this? What if we took item number 1, make a motion to pass this and see what everybody says, item number 2, and go through
But you
it?
can't just pass
Wait.
it today. We have
Well,
to,
no, to approve of what they're doing here.
oh, their
To approve the
recommendation.
recommendation.
So you realize that you're
And then we have to
changing
make,
your multiple family residential, right? Not the condo ordinance.
Okay.
yeah, that would.
Okay, just so you know,
So,
That aspect
that's,
for the
if
height.
somebody wants to.
you're not
build an
changing
apartment,
the condo
No, I know.
complex, you're changing the whole RM.
Which,
Multiple
which,
family residential
which are the few
streets.
apartments that we have in town, but they're already built.
No, it's not just the apartments.
What's gonna be built? That's,
It's anything, well, and you're changing anything that's residential multiple,
Streets. So,
well, the first part is streets.
right,
The setbacks are specific to residential multiple, the road widths or, the road right-of-way is specific to residential multiple.
You're not changing your condo ordinance, you're actually changing the residential multiple.
residential multiple, or multiple family residential streets,
that's the first one.
That's the roads part, right?
right?
How, can I ask, how come, if we had a meeting on the housing, where we had to notify everybody, we don't do that with the condo? I'm just curious, in case somebody asks me that, I need to know, like why they didn't get letters
Well, I guess what it would say, because
They weren't there
They
yet.
did get
it was
letters.
for the
evidently,
condo,
Those houses
not for
weren't
the
there
new
yet.
houses.
Well, that was just
That was the
changing,
rezoning.
that's just a
This just
rezoning.
came up last planning commission meeting,
Okay,
right?
Plus those houses weren't there yet either.
But couldn't we go line for
So-
line and just everybody vote on, okay, we're gonna take this and then just, what is it, you know?
I kind of agree with Eric, I think, because the
We
worst
just
case.
don't know that.
Worst case, right?
So we
Worst
just don't
case,
know that.
we wait a month and we vote on it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing. If we vote to table it, we wait a month.
And
That's all
so
it
what
is.
Larry said about what the lawyer had
And
said,
then if
Why
that's,
couldn't
it sounds more like
Yeah.
he's telling
What's that?
us to protect ourselves by having public hearings, right?
that's kind of my contention.
And that was,
so then table it, make,
that was specific
I'll
to
make a motion
the-
just to table this until a future meeting.
support it, gives more time. Good.
And then the planning commission has to take it on.
I thought you guys had worked on this for more than.
Does somebody support that?
Support.
They've talked about it,
Yeah.
but they just made all these decisions that led, except for one, I think the height was already decided a couple
Yeah,
meetings
That would-
ago.
You always make the decision that one did.
okay, Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa,
Yes.
yes. Weaver,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Martyr, Mazer.
Yes.
Yeah.
That gives you time to have your discussion, get the, what do you call it?
So are you gonna have a
Public
are you gonna
hearing.
have a public hearing?
Yeah. I mean, worst case.
I thought
we vote on
you
it.
guys have been talking about it for a while and finally just voted on your recommendation.
All right, next up, Mr. Zimmer, you want to amend chapter 771 disabled person to operate ORVs on the main streets.
So I don't know, I was approached by a neighbor, a citizen. He's disabled, and I'm glad you're here, chief, because maybe you can help us with this. About operating ORVs for disabled people on M19 if they have labeled their ORV as disabled. Because it's a state road, and in the state of Michigan, there is a state ordinance that allows for, a municipality may pass an ordinance allowing a permanently disabled person to operate an ORV in that municipality. So, it's a little bit of a gray area, I
And
fully
what does somebody
understand.
have to do to get that tag?
I mean, honestly, he told me he got it off Amazon.
There you go.
So-
So that, the thing is that's not a state issued
Correct, correct.
Right.
That's
Which
why-
I could buy one.
That's what I don't.
Well, that's why I'm
You
asking,
could buy one, you could buy one, you could buy one.
that's why I'm asking the chief of police, how that is monitored, like,
So, I talked to Eric about this earlier, and I really don't know, because we already have an ordinance that allows for the use of ORVs, right?
except on M19.
Right. But the ordinance itself is already in place for the city. It's not, it doesn't exclude disabled individuals, right? Anybody can drive under that ORV ordinance in the city of Memphis, an ORV that meets the requirements.
Correct.
So when I read, when I saw your thing there, I looked it up as far as the, what you cited, the statute.
Yep.
I don't read it as it making a difference as what the type of road is. So for, as best as I could understand, even our existing ordinance, as a municipality, because it's a state trunk line, we don't have the authority to say you can or can't. Only Michigan Department of Transportation does. So the best that I could find is that, and this even goes for our existing ORV, we can make a request to have them allow that, but we cannot make that decision. Disabled, not disabled, doesn't matter. That's how I read it. Now,
That's what I saw too.
yeah, I don't know where he's reading that I don't know where you insert automatically you can drive an M19 from that ordinance, because I don't see it in there.
Yeah, when I read through it, it's public hearing, you gotta notify a bunch
Yeah.
of people, you gotta do all this work.
So, right, so what I did is I pulled up, on yours there,
That, you have the.
so, yes.
Yeah,
So the legislative body of the local unit of government, obviously would be us, may request the state transportation department to authorize the local unit of government to adopt an ordinance authorizing the operation of ORVs on a highway other than an interstate highway.
right.
So I don't think we have the authority to do that, even if you wanted to, disabled or not disabled. Even with an ORV ordinance, I think you'd have to make a request
To the state.
to the state to say, hey, can we operate these on this particular roadway, which I'm against anyways, personally.
Right.
So otherwise, we would have probably, I guess, sought that originally to let them ride on M19 when we passed the
But
original.
we couldn't.
The only reason I ask is.
Well, you can, but you have to get approval.
Right.
But what I couldn't find is really anything that's kind of one of those, hey, you gotta go through the process. We'll stamp it, but you gotta apply for it. I didn't really find anything either way to say, hey, this is something they do authorize,
Yeah.
or they don't authorize on request. It just says you can request it. But again, then you're kind of in, the speed limit, the ORV ordinance is anything under 25.
Right,
Well, M19's above 25. So, and then if you read this ordinance that you gave me, it says 25-mile-an-hour roadways.
yeah,
So that's not a 25, so I really don't know the answer, but I don't think it qualifies. What they're saying or how they're interpreting it, I don't think is correct.
I don't think they are either,
So
but I don't know what the workaround is, or if there is a workaround, and that's why
I assume that had to be it, because I'm like, why else? We already have the ordinance, so it
Right.
has to be just for a specific reason, but in reading it, I don't find that in there, or I don't interpret it that way anyways, I could be wrong, that it makes any difference at all.
The only question I had, and I agree, I totally agree with everything you're saying, based on what I read, same conclusion. The only thing that gives me pause is we specifically put ORVs may not be operated on M19 in our ordinance.
Because we can't give the authority.
That's what it's for, okay.
Yes.
That was the only
It's
clarifying.
further clarification
Yeah.
of state law.
Okay.
That's why that was put in there, well, it was copied off the counties, but,
Yeah, yeah.
that was put in there, but that mirrors like St. Clair County, they all say the same thing.
Yes,
So we didn't invent that, we didn't come up with
No.
that, we just are basically, I think we spelled it out more or less in the ordinance over and above, just saying all 25-mile-an-hour roadways, we actually went so far, because it used to say M19 and Boardman. And then we
We
removed the
changed the
Boardman
language.
section, correct,
Right.
yeah. So I don't think it's that we sought to exclude it, we just can't, and I think we were just kind of clarifying that in the ordinance for anybody that's looking at it, that's all.
so say for example, someone did, even if they have a disabled sign, sticker, whatever.
I don't even know what that is, because I can't even find anything.
I know,
Like-
I looked it up too, I couldn't.
I know what this says,
Yeah.
here's how I interpret this ordinance.
It's like getting the service animal thing offline.
It's 100%.
No, not the plate, but the actual, the concept of a disabled person utilizing the ORV. How I interpret this ordinance is for a place that doesn't have an ordinance, and maybe you have somebody in town that's disabled and they wanna drive to the store.
Yep. Well, that's
So
what
you're not
this
allowing
means.
everybody, but you can pass an ordinance to allow that disabled person. But that negates, we don't need that here because we have an ordinance that allows you to do ORVs, and it's not exclusive, it doesn't exclude,
Right.
handicapped or disabled individuals. So That's how I read this, like, this is something somebody can put in place if they don't wanna have a general, everybody can follow it. They wanna make it just for disabled, that they would pass this ordinance. And we're already above and beyond that because we have an ordinance that says anybody can ride them, so.
Yeah.
Then anybody can go online and buy one of these.
I don't even know.
Right?
Correct, correct. I don't know where that.
Yeah, I don't know, because this doesn't say anything about that, like anything about stickers or plates or nothing.
Other than being registered.
So I just think
Yeah.
that, well, but any vehicle that's,
On the
legal for
road,
road has to be registered.
Right,
So that's how I interpret this. This gives the local authority a way to allow somebody that has a disability to utilize an ORV, but they don't want everybody in town doing it. That's how I read it, but again, that could be wrong.
I took this as the
You know, like,
framework for this, for
Richmond's-
ours.
Yes,
is
pretty
what
much.
it- Yeah, okay.
Richmond's ordinances, they're mostly golf carts, but I don't know really the rules, but they have to bring it up to the police, have their cart inspected.
Inspected, yeah.
You know, and they get a tag on it and everything like that, just to ride
For the
on
city.
the side streets, you know,
Right,
just
right.
ride on any street.
And everybody does it
You gotta go
differently.
through-
Ours
Ours
basically
is
was,
pretty much just like, go ahead.
we took St. Clair counties, not we, but you guys did it before I got here, but it was this mirrored, it's St. Clair County's
Same
ordinance.
thing, right.
100%. It was just, we didn't invent the wheel, reinvent the wheel, we just copied their
And they can
ordinance.
cross 19, they just can't drive
They
it.
can ingress, egress 19, but they can't drive upon
On
it.
it.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could actually go from streets that aren't lined up, like say,
Is there a maximum?
Well,
Worcester Street?
St. Clair County says you
St.
can.
Clair County says you can go up to a mile.
Ours does not.
To go from one road to the other. In Macomb
Ours does
County, you cannot.
Right.
You can
So
go directly across it.
I
I thought
couldn't
it
go
said
from
first available.
Pratt to Dollar General.
No.
Nope.
Not the way ours is written.
You can
It's-
go from Pratt to the ice cream shop, that's where most of the people get
But
busted.
right.
So St. Clair County has that one little caveat, one little line in their ordinance, that when they drafted the one here,
But they're talking about country blocks. you
that
know,
was,
and
that was
that's-
left out, that
that's-
1,000 feet, whatever it is, that, I think it's 1,000 feet,
Yeah.
to ingress, egress, connecting roads. Ours doesn't say that, ours says you can't operate at all in M19, period. So you can cross it, but you can't drive on it, we don't have that 1,000 foot, so that was left out, I assume, either intentionally or unintentionally, I don't know, but it was left
Yeah.
out of when they copied St. Clair County's ordinance. But for here, it doesn't make sense, because of the distance.
Yeah,
You know, the distance of M19 from point A to point B, beginning of town to end of town, you would defeat the purpose of saying you can't drive on M19, because you can drive anywhere if you gave it that kind of latitude, so.
Yeah, that's
Then now you got them driving on the road that you don't want them to
You
drive
don't
on,
want
or they're not
them to drive
supposed to drive on. So, I assume that's why it was omitted from the original ordinance.
yeah, that was the only thing, someone brought it up to me, when I did a little more research on it, I came to almost the exact same conclusion, that this is the framework for this, based on the St. Clair County one,
Yeah.
and being disabled has nothing to do with it,
Yeah.
basically.
And it doesn't really say you get anything over and above,
Right.
You know, as
Speed
far
limits,
as-
anything like that,
no,
right. Okay.
Alright,
whatever that's for.
do we wanna make a motion, how about like
No,
no,
we don't have to.
no action?
No changes, no nothing? We don't need to?
Okay. Alright, moving on, that finishes up, from the mayor, I really don't have anything, Jason?
I don't have anything, but I do wanna thank you for all of your work that you put into this and everything like that, and the rest of the planning commission and all the work that they've done. If it is proper to go have a public hearing, if that's what our lawyer recommends, then
You didn't exactly recommend it, but I'd
It's a very
rather
good
err
idea.
on the-
It's not gonna hurt anything.
That's not-
Okay.
yeah.
CYA.
Yeah, I have, just one thing.
2 months ago.
Bart and I talked about it today, and, Union Street is very bad out here.
No. Going back to gravel?
It's bad, and so, he's gonna contact, Fish, Vanderbilt, Gary, and, we're gonna have him look at it. They're gonna, they did all the engineering on Lois and Robert Street.
Well, hadn't we talked about like Union Street and up into the parking lot
Well,
for the tower?
They
and-
did, but, let me just go this way. Lois and Robert Street are basically done now. However, we do want to do the road reconstruction. That was in the original quote, but was taken out because the quotes came in.
Right, so now we have to look at that again.
So it's engineered now, so we have to stay with them to do that, so we're going to probably do that next year. And so Gary Bartow is coming out, and we're gonna look at just the Union
From there
Street,
to there.
just Boardman, yeah, because it is a mess. And it actually kind of affecting Boardman because gravel's getting out and on it when cars.
Well, and actually, I think
So-
it should be done from here over to Benton.
Well, it should be, but let's look at it. And when they're here for that, so they're probably, you wouldn't have to have all the setup and everything too. We're gonna look at it, that's all, okay?
Right.
All right, that's all I had.
Okay. Mr. Weaver?
Just real briefly, we met with, Tom Rubin, who's our enforcement officer.
Yeah.
And a couple items that we were discussing were parking on Bell River. And his opinion was, since there is not really a shoulder there, that parking is really becoming problematic. We're having 2 or 3 cars spreading like the virus now. With the construction there and the
Well, it's in the road, they're parking in the road, that's where in the road.
So we need no parking signs?
Well, he seems to think that is the way that we need to go, and he wanted the police department to be aware of that if we were gonna go down that road, to help monitor the situation. And I don't know if he would be writing the tickets or you would write the tickets.
He said it's a police problem.
Well,
You know where-
I know we got to discuss
You
between
know where we're
residential and
talking?
commercial stuff.
Just talking about by the new construction?
Yes.
Well, just
People parking on the road.
homeowners.
Here.
Parking,
No.
Bell River.
This is Cole Street.
Well, he mentioned Wall Street was another example of that
Okay.
happening. But basically, the concern was Bell River. We got a guy parking his truck out there, a couple of different people now, because I'm up and down the road all the time, so I live on the road. But it's like, you
It's
gotta
a
stop
problem.
and wait, if somebody's coming 2 opposite directions. Now sometimes there's a.
Well, that's something that the city can, at a given point, the city can go ahead and plug a sign there, no parking from here to.
Yeah, well,
Or-
that's one of the recommendations he's making, that we should
It's-
address it
it's-
because it's a safety hazard.
Yeah, on the Pratt Road side of my house, it was one point in time with.
And he
neighbors
will.
On the other side, parked all their vehicles over there, they were in disrepair and all that stuff, and that's when I talked to Bart.
And he will
was
take
posted
it upon
as
himself,
a-
you can write the letters. Just-
Well, I get,
just wanted to be aware of it.
again, it's an ongoing project. You have
No.
people that,
I'm just making sure
He lives
residents.
there.
It's the residents.
These are the finished
These are
houses
people
where
living in the
people
homes.
live. They just don't park in their driveway, they park on the road.
okay.
Yeah, it's not temporary. It's every night on
They
the
got an
road
open
with,
spot in their driveway and they just
with-
think parking.
It was the first house, the first
Yeah,
guy
when
that
did they
moved
try
into
to
the
make
first
it?
house.
Yep.
So the only thing I would consider is that you have a lot of other side streets that you have people parking in as well, and I guess you could say the same thing about them, or people that live there, but if nobody's complaining about it, so I don't know where you,
Where do you draw?
If you have-
where you say you don't park on streets, or you do
They're
park
just
on.
making a differentiation, chief, if you had a shoulder constructed, but there really isn't a
There's
shoulder.
no
there.
shoulder, they're halfway, they're literally halfway.
There's not any room with the ditch there that you could stretch it and say, well, we have a shoulder of the road.
No, I understand, I'm just saying, I'm thinking right now, there's other streets that are not much wider that people park on the streets. So, and I'm not against, I have no dog in this fight, I'm just saying, if you're gonna say you can't park there, the person goes around the corner, there's a street equally as wide, and they're parked there, where does it stop? Like, where do you say no parking on any city streets?
Well,
I just think it's something to consider before you start throwing signs and telling
Yeah,
certain people
well,
they
that's why I'm
can't
just
park.
bringing it up to make everybody aware.
You
It's-
know, I guess I haven't heard anybody complain necessarily to us that say, hey, we can't get through.
I hear
You know what I'm
complaints all the
saying?
time.
Yeah, so do I.
I hear complaints all the time.
Okay, yeah, we're getting into a whole lot here, of stuff that wasn't on the agenda that probably should have been.
Okay, and that was the main thing I wanted you guys to see.
Go ahead, I'll let you take it.
Do you need to have a meeting on this stuff?
Do we need to add it to the agenda?
I think, you
for
know
the
what,
next meeting?
instead of beating this down the road for another half an hour,
We probably need
let's,
to add it
let's
to
put
next
this
month.
on the agenda for the next meeting, we can take a look at all these issues here, because there's a lot to be
There's a-
discussed,
Yeah, there's a few.
so.
Good, just wanted to get my word.
Nope, that's fine.
What are you looking at? Is this all from his stuff?
Yeah,
Is that what you're looking at, Kurt? I don't have that.
This
so.
is, all from,
From the ordinance guy?
yeah.
Okay, all right, so there's multiple issues?
Yeah, go ahead and hold on to that, I'll get another copy.
Well, like the people parking
He's
between the
pretty-
sidewalk and the road, I don't think there's an issue at all. Okay,
You just
someone
wanted
parked
to
on the
have
grass.
something on.
All right, so,
Not there, but elsewhere, he was talking about elsewhere.
so we're gonna add that on, anything else, Steve?
No.
Robbie?
I just wanted to bring it to your attention, I was trying to find out who's in charge of the Memorial Day Parade. There is nobody, there's no go-to person for the Memorial Day Parade. Bart makes arrangements to close the road, and,
I remember it was
People
Ted
should show
Sokowski
up.
for
As I
years.
say, it
Well, Bart
was,
doesn't close,
it
Bart
was-
gets the permit for the
the
road.
no, that's what I
The
meant,
parade.
But it
the
was-
permits, the permits.
That's how it is every year.
yeah,
No,
Bart,
no,
Bart,
no, but-
Bart gets the
It goes like
permits,
this
and
every
the
year.
AMVets set up the
Yeah,
parade.
it's the Legion.
And
that did
then the Legion is not, they
It
said
was,
they-
Legion
it
it
was,
wasn't
do it.
Laura,
yeah,
it went
they
from
said, they
Ted
said
to
no.
Laura.
I asked them, they said no.
When she
They
was
had
with the
no-
Legion. When Ted was with the Legion, he did it, then Laura did it,
And nobody does it,
and
no.
now once Laura's not really
There's
active in the
nobody.
Legion anymore, who does it,
I'm
right?
gonna see who we got last year, if we got a name of anybody, and I'll let you know.
Yeah, well, the commander, two other commanders were there yesterday at the meeting, they both said no. The American Legion said no, the Chamber said no, the fire department said no.
I know it's
So
pretty
they
good
don't-
how
I
they
said
do
it's
it,
not-
there's no
He
like
said they just
registration
show
or
up.
anything, it's
Well,
just
you
show
just
up. Yeah, that's how it's been forever.
Yeah, but I
There's
think
no-
they're trying to make it like more.
A little more official,
Organized.
so.
Well, if they were trying to make it that way, why don't they appoint somebody?
Yeah,
But
who wants to
Well,
make
the
it that
American
way?
Legion appoint somebody.
Who appoints it?
The
It could
American
be
Legion
anybody.
used to appoint people,
Yeah,
so they should
who
take
is
it
it that
over,
wants it to
maybe.
be more official?
Just, that was a
It
general
was just a
consensus from
general
everybody
Of
conversation.
talking.
who? Like what group? Just people
Everybody
that
that
you're
was
talking
at the
to?
festival
chamber.
meeting.
They wanna know who the
Chamber.
go point person was, if they wanted to be in the
So
parade.
the chamber, okay. Somebody should appoint somebody.
Yeah, and American Legion used to handle it all the time, so I would ask them if they wanna appoint somebody.
I point you, Rodney.
Oh, I'm not gonna- I'll be pointing, but not,
Okay. Mr.
okay, I'll
Chairman?
do that.
Just an update, Don and I talked to our VC3 guy, he's talking to their finance team about that invoice.
Oh, okay,
We're still waiting on the domain from the government, so nothing new on that.
okay.
Here?
Hope we're having a good parade this year, and,
Who knows?
motion to adjourn.